Hey, what's up, y'all? And welcome back to the Vibes with Step podcast. It's been a long time since I did one of these. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I treat the podcast as just a kind of coping thing for myself and just to voice my opinion on certain topics. But I've been sitting here playing a little World War Z tonight because I ain't been really playing. I mean, I usually play that game with my dad. It's one of my favorite games to play. Probably the only game I play casually these days, and the best zombie game I ever played ever, like hands down. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a fan of Resident Evil. That's the best series, well, my favorite series. You know what I'm saying? But set all of that gushy junk to the side. I wanted to talk about modern gaming. You know what I'm saying? As a whole, today's gaming, and you could put modern gaming in whatever timeline you want in the last 10 years, in the last 20 years, blah blah blah. But I'm just talking about today and the state of gaming and where it's at. And some people, for the people who watch this, just take my opinion for what it is. I ain't gonna sit there and limit my opinion. I ain't gonna sit there and act like I am a grain of salt, in this world, especially of gamers, but my opinion hold weight because I got a whole lot of videos on my channel, thousands of videos on games, and I pretty much know what I'm talking about. I might not make games, but I got an idea on how games work these days, and the state it's in. But long story short, man, modern gaming suck, and I'm gonna be one of the gamers to step out into the world and be in that field by myself and say that because it's true. Modern gaming, a lot of these devs, even independent, AAA independent, they open a door, like AAA companies open a door to where these modern gaming companies are pretty much spoiling gamers, and gamers are pretty much just throwing their money out there in the world, spending hundreds of dollars, literally hundreds of dollars on certain games that some are being remade and cut in half. You know what I'm saying? And I'm mainly, not mainly, but I want to point out Resident Evil, Capcom. Look, Capcom been remaking some of their games for a few years now. You know what I'm saying? They remade Resident Evil 2, which was all right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at the time when I played it, it was cool. I wouldn't say, actually, I ain't gonna say it's a bad game. It's pretty much just one of them games that scared the shit out of me so bad, and I don't want to really play it by myself. But they remade 3, which disappointed a lot of people because it was half made. They cut out a lot of stuff that was in the remake, which, I mean, not in the remake, but in the original, which I played on my channel. I ain't finished it. I had like one part left on that. I ain't finished it because something went wrong with the recording. But they cut out so much in that and charged full price for that game and never came out with DLC for it. And I forgot to mention, because it's like a day later, but to justify the pricing, Capcom tried to add in Resident Evil Resistance, which was like a asymmetrical, I guess asymmetrical, I don't even know what the fuck that word means. But they tried to add in that little 1 versus 4 multiplayer game, which did pretty bad. As a means to, like I said, justify the $60 price. So pretty much you paying $30 for a half made Resident Evil 3, then you got $30 for the other game too. And people was cool with that, which pissed a lot of people off. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Resident Evil 4. They remade that, which was dope. It was a dope game, dope experience. It was scary at times. But they even cut out the whole Ada thing, which, I mean, look, some people could argue and say, well, technically the Ada DLC wasn't a part of the, original game because it came out with the PS2, I think. Yeah. That was like a extra thing for the PS2 or some shit like that. So people could sit there and argue, well, technically Ada wasn't a free DLC. But I mean, for them to sit there and, charge people $60 for the full game just to sit there and, maybe a year or so later come out with that DLC and charge $20 for it, which I bought. Resident Evil is pretty much like the only series of games I'll buy full price these days. You wouldn't catch me, spending $70 base price, which Capcom, thank God, I mean, maybe at some point they might do it, which I hope not. But thank God they one of the companies that's not charging $70 for their games base price, which is another issue I got with modern gaming. Modern gaming made it an exception for these companies to charge $70 base price. Like, is you serious? I think to myself, some people, I done read articles on it. I done read YouTube comments and people chalk it up to inflation and shit like that in the market. But I mean, let's be real. What's the difference between $60 and $70? You know what I'm saying? What's the $10 difference when some of these companies be selling millions of copies? It's not gonna hurt their pockets to sit there and keep these games $60, but it's a reason, not a reason, but it's an excuse for them to want more money. Not need it, is want. But then somebody out there could argue my point and say, well, Step, since you say that, what's the difference between you spending 60 and $70? It's a big difference, because it ain't even just about that $10 bump. You also got to take into account these other, bundles they be having, these like other additions for the game. Because if you gonna up the price for these base games, you damn sure right they gonna up the price for the extra critical edition or some crazy shit, the ultimate edition and stuff like that. They gonna them things already be going for about 90 or $100, sometimes even over that. And then you don't want to get to the point where these companies think $70 ain't enough either, so they gonna bump it up. Because one day, rest assured, we gonna get to a point where these companies gonna be charging $100 base price for games. So that's my point. Look, $60, $70 from a company standpoint, from their perspective, ain't a lot of, it ain't that much of a difference. They could dead as make Capcom as an exception, like I just said, not an exception, but an example of a successful company that could charge $60 to this day for their games and still be successful. So from a consumer standpoint, yeah, it's a big difference, because the average person can't afford to keep buying these $70 games, even $60. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people, especially the way games made with the quality they made these days, a lot of people can't afford to keep chucking out money like that. Now, if you somebody that live in your mom's basement, or you a kid, then you probably ain't gonna give a shit, because it's probably not your money, or you just don't give a shit to spend that kind of money because you ain't got no real responsibilities. But for the sensible people out there, yeah, 60 to 70, that's a lot of damn money, and nobody want to sit there and make it a regular thing to be buying $70 games. Corporate greed, you know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. These companies, they feed on gamers, because they know, especially these days, the modern gamer, these younger people, attention span is short as a nut. You know what I'm saying, y'all? And I'm that's just what it is. A lot of y'all, and I done experienced y'all in some games, have real short attention spans. It's fast food gaming. Y'all quick to beat a game and then want more. That's why DLCs exist, and they constantly pushing them out. The problem is, though, a lot of this content is either rehashed stuff that came from old games and they just put it in remakes or remastered versions, or is new stuff they might sell for $40, you know what I'm saying, maybe even $50, and it's not up to par to what people expect from some of these companies. You know what I'm saying? And it's disappointing to see that. It's disappointing to see, some of these companies charging $60 for a game, $70 too. Then they want to charge another $30 and $40 and $50 and $60 for DLC, a year later, a year and a half later. And then you got gamers out there who make an excuse for that and call people like myself broke for complaining about it. And it's like, you can't sit there and call me broke. You can't sit there and call gamers like me broke, or, haters or shit like that, or get with the times and blah, 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 because that's exactly what's wrong with modern gamers. Modern gamers enabled these companies to prey on us. That's pretty much what they do. They prey on us. We're their prey, and they the predator. They manipulate us by, throwing out these random trailers and, throwing out these posters and stuff. Is all glitz and glamour and stuff like that. Oh, you spend $60 on this and you get a skin. Pre-order this game for $70. Get the ultra mega edition for $100, and you'll get a couple skins or maybe a new weapon or some shit like that. And you get 3-day early access. That shit right there is what's really killing us, because they sit there and throw out 3 days early access. You get 3 days before the game come out to play it, which is so dumb. Because that's really what, gaming today is starting to become. Because I done seen it on Steam. I forgot what game that was, but it was a game where you, honestly, I don't know which game it was, but somebody in the forums for that game said they paid $100 or some shit just to play it 3 days early. And I think to myself, people are so impatient. And it take me back to my point of short attention spans. People want fast food gaming. They want games so bad that they willing to spend hundreds of dollars on a game just to play it. Think about GTA 6 when that's coming out. GTA 6, I was just thinking about this 2 days ago. GTA 6 probably going to be the biggest game of all time when it come out, just based on the hype. And you know what's crazy? Rockstar knew what they was doing before they even announced GTA 6. They already had the blueprint for that. You know what I'm saying? GTA 5 been out since 2013. I remember going to the mall when me and my homeboy bought both our copies, and we went straight to his house in his room. He set up a little TV on the floor. He had his TV and we played that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was so dope. I remember that experience. But my thing is, it's been over 10 years since GTA 5 came out, and they've been milking it and milking it. People been wondering when the hell GTA 6 coming out, and it's finally coming out. And I saw some posters or like some kind of screenshot of what could potentially be the prices for that game, and it's crazy. Cause I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a next gen game. It's got to be next gen. I mean, come on. Like based on the trailer, which I ain't really see the whole trailer. I saw certain parts of it, but based on that trailer, that game gonna be next gen. So you know they gonna charge more than $60. Base price, if it ain't 70, it's gonna be more than that. You know what I'm saying? And then don't even think about the like ultimate edition and all them other editions they gonna come out with. But that's the point. They could sit there and do shit like that, and people gonna buy it because it's GTA, because the hype is real with that game. Because a lot of people been waiting on that game over 10 years, and it's gonna be ain't gonna be no excuses for it. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna be people throwing their money out there. Now let it be a shit game. Let GTA 6 come with a lot of bugs. People gonna be complaining like a motherfucker, but then you gonna always have them gamers that's gonna accept it and say, well, that's the state of gaming today. You gotta either adapt to it or keep complaining and be a hater or be broke or blah blah blah. When in reality, we should be keeping our money, letting these companies know we're the reason they successful. We the gamers, you know what I'm saying? We have the money. We play their games to enjoy. Well, at least coming from where I came from as a gamer, coming up, I used to play games all the time because I loved them. I ain't sit there and play all them damn games for the DLCs and all that stuff and the microtransactions. I ain't somebody that liked to buy microtransactions. I never did it. You know what I'm saying? It was never my thing. That's one reason I can't really play mobile gaming, and I did a podcast on that. So if y'all want to go check that, check it. But I hate the idea of microtransactions, especially pay to win games. If you want to get stronger, it ain't gonna be through leveling up and actually grinding for a game. Nah, go ahead and buy this stuff in the marketplace we got. Go ahead and spend a couple dollars. Go ahead and spend 20, 30, 40 bucks. Don't worry about what's wrong and what's right. No, screw the morals in gaming. Go ahead and spend your money. Throw all your money our way if you want to be at the highest level in this game. If you want to show off to the newbies out there. It's not for fun these days. Games not for fun. It's like World War Z. I'm going to go back to World War Z for a moment. So they got this, for the people who never played that game, they got this mode. Well, not a mode, but they got a thing in there that's, it go based on ranks. And I be talking to my dad about this sometimes because I play that with him. You know, I actually got him into that. Well, man, did I get him into that? That's subjective. But yeah, it go all the way up to rank 999, which I hit recently, which is, it is what it is. But rank 999 is something I earned. But around the time the game came out, they had this, or at least they put it on Steam. They had this save that Saber Interactive gave out to people who I guess was transferring from Epic to Steam, and they was having issues and shit. So I guess the people who couldn't get their saves in check, they gave everybody a link to a save that gave you everything, rank 999, and I'm guessing it gave you all the weapons and stuff. And a lot of people use that, and that's the problem. That's another problem with gaming these days. Too many people want this easy way to cheat or to win and stuff like that instead of earning stuff. It take me back to them days when I used to cry my ass off because of Crash Bandicoot constantly dying. You know what I'm saying? Them days when I used to play Final Fantasy. Them days when I used to play Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Adventures. You know what I'm saying? I used to die sometimes. I used to get stuck on puzzles and in certain games, survival horror games, adventure games, RPG, especially RPG games. Them days when I used to play like Marvel versus Capcom, and it was just certain fights I couldn't win in. It was the satisfaction of finally winning. Like I would take a break because I'm the type of gamer that dead ass, like, I'm persistent. You know what I'm saying? If I lose in some shit enough, I'm gonna get pissed the fuck off, and then I'm gonna leave it alone for maybe a day or two. Back then, it ain't. I used to be the same way, but I used to cry a lot when I was a kid when I played games because I just hated losing. I hate losing in games. But these days, I just get a little pissed off, and then I get back in it, and I most likely beat what I was trying to beat. But it's the satisfaction of that. Yeah, you get pissed off. Yeah, it might take you a little bit longer, but at least you earned some shit. You earned that weapon. You earned that that level you wanted. You earned the satisfaction of saying you beat the hardest difficulty in the game. You ain't cheat. You ain't get no code or no link that gave you everything before you actually beat the game yourself. You ain't look up some walkthrough that showed you all the cheesy things you could do to beat certain things. I ain't against cheese in certain games. You know what I'm saying? Like me, if I'm trying to beat a game on the hardest difficulty and I'm constantly dying on a part, I'm gonna look up something that I'm gonna either try to do it. You know what? It take me back to Liza P. I play Liza P on my channel. I think y'all should go check that out. That was a real dope playthrough. It kind of pissed me off though, cause in that I ain't do the last part. Well, the last part on it didn't record, and that fucked me up because that was a long fight. That fight took me about 6.5 hours. But in that game, I think it was part 8 or 9, maybe even 7. I don't know. You fight this thing that has got like a glowing blue brain, and it's real tough. Probably the second hardest fight I had in that game. And it took me hours to beat that. So long that I had to go back on YouTube to watch a video on how to cheese it. And I had to sit there and, pretty much roll back my character skills just to sit there and level up in other skills. Long story short, that shit ain't work for me. So I had to go back, roll back my skills again, just to go back to what I had my skills set at on how I earned them. And then I pretty much just found my own way to beat the game. So it was persistent, it was consistency, and it was just trial and error. But that's what being a true gamer is. Knowing the ins and outs of what come with being a gamer, not finding some way to cheat a game, not downloading these random links, not begging people to give me some random ass save online because this game too fucking hard. I don't have the time to be patient with this. I got a job or I'm not tough enough to actually earn this win. So I'm going to bitch about it and wait till somebody give me what I want. And that's what gamers are today. Not all of us, you know what I'm saying? I ain't putting it on all of us, but you can agree, at least somebody out there can agree with me and say that modern gaming has become a circus. You know what I'm saying? And it's disappointing because I love gaming. But lately I've been thinking to myself, the way some of these games set up, it's like Saber Interactive. So look, let me go back to Saber and then I'm probably going to be done with this episode because it's just starting to, actually only 17 minutes. Maybe I'll go a little bit longer. But yeah, back to Saber Interactive. Saber Interactive, and I hate to put y'all out there like that, but it's just what it is. Like I said, they made World War Z, which is the best zombie game I ever played. But the problem with World War Z, and it's been out for about 5 years, is it's full of bugs. I could sit there and talk about the kind of bugs that's in it, but I done talked about it in certain videos. I done posted about it on Steam. I done seen other people post about it on Steam forums. Long story short, Saber don't do nothing but send automated messages out to all us. They see all the constant people complaining about bugs and shit, and all they can say is send a ticket, we'll look into it. Instead of being open and honest with us as gamers, they want to sit there and try to find a coping, a little easy cop-out way by sending little automated messages. They done did it to me a couple times, and it pissed me off to see companies do that. They got so many games coming out, and that's the problem with them. It's quantity over quality with them. And they ain't the only company that do that. It's quantity over quality with a few more of these other companies, but Saber is the main one that stick out to me because they made one of my favorite games. But they got such a big, expansive team who at this moment are working on certain games. They working on a new Jurassic Park game that's coming out. They working on this Warhammer game that's coming out soon. From what I understand, a Knights of the Old Republic game. They coming out with another zombie game. I forgot what it's called, but it looked pretty dope. The point is, they got so many games coming out, and yeah, they got certain separate teams working on each game. But the problem is, they got World War Z that's still out. From what I understand, I think they stopped working on that Evil Dead game. Either they still working on that Evil Dead game, or they pretty much cut it off and they waiting for it to die. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people like that game for what it was. But they the type of company that remind me of this other independent dev who made a couple games I played on my channel. And they pissed me off because they both work in the same way. Saber Interactive take the name of popular series or movies or whatever you want to call it, or even games, and they come out with their own games based on them projects. I'll call them projects. And they go based on that hype. And then they fuck around and they'll come out with a game, might charge 30 bucks for it, 40 bucks for it, come out with some DLC over time, charge another 10, 20 bucks for that, and they'll work on the game for a few years. If you're lucky, maybe 4 or 5 years. And then out of nowhere, the game full of fucking bugs, and then they end up ignoring your ass, and then they stop working on the game and move on to other projects. That's exactly what they doing at this point. They got a game that's already out, that's popular. I ain't gonna sit there and say a lot of people play the game, but I never have a problem finding a game. But they know they got this game out, and yet they saying, you know what, screw that. We gonna keep working on these other games. Look, I get it. You gotta make money. I get it. You got certain deadlines to get certain things done. But if you know you got this game that's full of bugs and stuff, why don't you get one of your teams to actually work on that? And maybe they are working on that. I don't know. Because from what I understand, I just saw somebody comment on Steam. They said they saw a Twitter post of a trailer for World War Z, a new one, where they like promoting some new horde map. And I'm thinking to myself, out of all the things you could work on, you trying to come out with a horde map, my nigga? Like, come on, man. You need to be promoting bugs. You need to like bug fixes. You need to be promoting something, some kind of quality of life experience. Maybe that might come with the horde map. I don't know. And that brings me back to that other independent dev. And you know, that's fucked up too. It's even bleeding into the independent scene. You know, I done seen it on Itch. You know, for the people out there, it's a popular game site. You know what I'm saying? Where people post their games, and that's pretty much where I download a lot of my games and stuff. But you got these like certain devs. I ain't gonna call their name out and stuff like that, but I don't play his games. You know what I'm saying? Or it's like two people on there who make games who I ignore. You know what I'm saying? But it's this one particular dude on there who made games, and he made games based on popular movies, Scream, and you know, I think he made one off Evil Dead, and even that movie Smile, which was scary. Not the game, but the movie. The movie was scary. But he made it on that, and that game sucked ass. All his games suck from what I understand. Well, from what I played. The games I played of his suck. But, you know, the kind of practice he does, which is a big issue of mine, is he'll make a game free. He'll put it on the website for free. He'll keep it out for a few days, maybe a week, get some popularity on it. Like I said, based on a popular movie or some shit, he'll come out with it, leave it up for free. Enough people download it. They post their video links on there. He gets some popularity. He get his little ratings up and shit like that. Then he charge for it. And he leave it up. He might make it half price, but he charged for it. I hate that shit. I talked to my boy Matt about that. Even Matt agreed with me. It's smart if you want to make that money, but it's scummy. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't come out with a game for free just to charge for it a week later because you got enough videos. Because you know what it do for the people out there who listening. Just it's bad practice because it's convincing people who never heard of the game. They suddenly just find out about it. You on Itch. You looking for games to play. Suddenly you come across this game. It's made by this dude. You see it's got a nice amount of ratings. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's 4 stars, maybe even 5 stars. You go down through the comments, people posting their videos about it. Some people say it's real good. You know what I'm saying? You barely see any bad reviews on it. Then you see the price. It's half price. Nah, screw that. Let's say it's full price, $2. Might not seem like a lot of money, but I'm going to get back to that point in a minute. But you see it's $2. That might be worth it considering all these other people bought it. That's the big word. Bought. They didn't buy it. Maybe 1 or 2 of them, maybe even 3 of them bought it. The rest of them got it free. That's the scummy part. Don't charge for your game if your motive is to make money in it. Charge for it right out the gate. You're an independent dev. You want to make money. You gotta make money, right? If you make games, you want to make money in what you love to do. Sell your games. The problem with a nigga like him, he don't want to face reality in the idea that he most likely not gonna make money. As a gamer, as a game developer, you gotta go with that gamble. You gotta gamble with that. You gotta play Russian roulette with either you gonna kill your game before it come out, or before you even get a sale, or you gonna get a few sales on it. But the problem with that is some of these guys like him are scared to face facts. So he'll put his game out for free, then charge for it later on, so then he could live off that little bit of money he made and live off the little hype and he do it with all his games. It never fail. They all the same price. Now back to my point about $2. Y'all might think $2 ain't a lot of money, but it's the principle behind it. I don't care if it's 50 cents. I don't care if it's a penny. Don't charge for your game if it was initially free. It's the idea of using gamers as a means to, make extra money. Charging full price for a game. I ain't talking about independent, I'm talking about AAA. Charging full price for a game just to fuck around and, come out with some extra DLC or some monetizing or, something that costs half that, or maybe even full price, like $60 for some DLC or some shit like that. A whole nother side story. It kind of remind me of that Elden Ring game. I played Elden Ring, probably my favorite Soul. Nah, that's bullshit. Lies of P was my favorite Souls game because I actually finished it. Elden Ring probably my second favorite Souls game, but I ain't never finished it. Problem with that is they came out with this DLC. The game was $60 when it came out. I think it's still 60. It might be on sale. But they recently came out with some DLC for it that cost $40. Might not be might not be a lot of money to some people, but it's the idea behind that. That's how these game companies do. That's $100 for a whole game. Now look, would it be an issue if the team that made Elden Ring charged $100 right out the gate? Let's say they already had it made, everything was good. Would y'all buy Elden Ring, the base game that was originally $60? Would you buy it $100 if it came with the base game and that DLC that just came out? Now I want some people, if you watch this, not watch it, if you listen to this podcast, I want you to answer that honestly. I can't say if I would or not, because one, I ain't finished Elden Ring, and two, I ain't even pay attention to that DLC. Some people said the DLC was worth it, so a lot of people said it was too damn hard for what it was. And some people said, for $40 they giving you pretty much a whole nother game. So I can't really speak on that. But for the people out there, I'm speaking from like a middleman kind of thing, a general standpoint. I think it's just fucked up to sit there and come out with a $60 game and then maybe a year or so later they come out with some DLC that's damn near full price. At that point you could have just made a whole new game. But that's the times we're living in, where people willing to throw all their money to these devs, even if it means paying full price again for a whole nother game that's considered DLC. You know what I'm saying? And it's just fucking crazy. It's crazy. It's like Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6, they come. Well, you know what? I ain't even gonna speak on that, but I'll speak on the idea that coming out with characters as DLC that was in the old games already. That's kind of fucked up. I ain't gonna sit there because I ain't played Street Fighter 6 yet. So I ain't gonna sit there and say if they charging for them DLC characters like Akuma. I don't know if Akuma costs money or not, but it's just the idea that like we in such a time where what was in a game at one point has to be DLC for the sake of money or hype. Because I grew up gaming. I was gaming since I was 3 years old. It break my heart. You know what I'm saying? Being 30 years old, like I've been gaming for a long time and I love gaming. I accept I'm a true gamer. You know what I'm saying? I'm somebody that appreciate games. Come on, I've been playing indie games since I started my YouTube channel back in I've been doing YouTube for 12 years. I did a basketball channel, but I started this gaming shit back in 2015. It was one of the best decisions of my life. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, it sucked to know that gaming became what it is today. And you got so many modern gamers versus, and I say versus because it is a separation. It's a line between us where it's like console gamers versus PC gamers. You got Xbox versus PlayStation, but then you got PC versus all them niggas. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, instead of us just being gamers in general, that's why crossplay a thing. Crossplay is a means for all of us to connect. It ain't no reason why we got to go against each other, but there's that thing. It's like how Sony come out with their games exclusively for PlayStation, but then they end up a year or so later, maybe 2 years, they put them on Steam. And I done seen people on Steam who are console gamers. I think to myself, why the fuck are you on Steam if you a console gamer? But they get in the Steam forums and complain about Sony doing that, putting their games out there for PC gamers to play. But why shouldn't they do that? Considering y'all console gamers had certain games for a little over 2 years, The Last of Us, that Spider-Man game, both of them Spider-Man games, you know what I'm saying? Well, Spider-Man and then the DLC, that Miles Morales shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all had that exclusively for PlayStation, and then for Sony to come out with it on Steam pissed a lot of people off. Even Ragnarok coming out, God of War Ragnarok, that's coming out on Steam, and some people complain about that being a thing. And I think to myself, modern gamers especially modern console gamers, are spoiled as fuck. When they get certain games as an exclusive, they get pissed off when it finally come to PC gamers. But I'm like, dude, we gotta wait to get y'all games. What I will say is we are the superior race. I mean, that's a different kind of argument. And I said that on purpose, but it's true though. You know what I'm saying? We can pretty much play almost any game we want to because we got emulators and, you know, we just got the hardware to back it up. Consoles are just kind of fixed at one level. You know what I'm saying? But set that shit aside. I ain't trying to make this competition. The point is, modern gamers need to just kind of keep it where it should be, which is a healthy community of gamers who just love what we do, and we do that. When we cross play together, whether we cross play or not, we just playing games to enjoy them. We not playing games to sit there and beef with each other. Why the fuck we beefing with each other? But I think that's it. I just wanted to kind of rant a little bit. I really want somebody to respond to this video. I really want somebody to comment and let me know your opinion on everything I just talked about, because I kind of forgot a little bit of everything. But yeah, man, to me, modern gaming sucks. And you know what's crazy is I was thinking about this some time ago. First off, I don't know if I'm going to live a long time. I mean, I'm pretty healthy, but, you know, anything can happen these days. I hope to live a long life, but I don't know, even if I do live a long life, I don't know if I'm going to still be gaming when I'm like 60 or some shit. I mean, my dad's 60 and I be playing World War Z with his ass. So most likely, I mean, I'm a more diehard gamer than my dad. My dad kind of gave up on that shit. So considering I love this shit and I'm 30 years old, most likely I'm going to still be gaming by 60. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just thinking to myself, if I'm not, then I had to have a real good reason to stop gaming. But that's it. That's all I got. Let me know y'all thoughts and opinions on this. I really just wanted to rant. Hope y'all had a good time listening to this podcast. If y'all want to check out the rest of the podcast, go ahead and check the link below. I got like 12 episodes, maybe even 13. I don't know. But yeah, let me know y'all thoughts and opinions in the comment section. If y'all want to hear me talk about a certain topic, let me know what's up. Leave a comment down below. And thanks for listening.